Perry Como's Craft Music Hall will not be seen tonight, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Hey, sorry I haven't been around video-wise for the last few days. I think recovering from C2E2. I don't know how Mike Norton has handled the post-con days, but it's taking me more days to snap back. I don't know about you, Mike.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I turned 50 last year, and it was almost like everything you ever joke about getting old just happened. It was like the expiration date happened. Just everything broke.
No, I understand. You know, I got that earlier, I think in my 40s, because I used to be able to burn the candle at both ends in radio for years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, damn, man, you know, I can't roll back after 4 hours of sleep like I used to.
That's definitely a thing. Yeah. I especially during, the past couple of years with COVID and I realized that I can't do the like 13 books a month like I used to do. I was like, wow. And people would ask, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And then I think, oh, I don't think I can do that anymore.
No, I get it. Absolutely. I'm so glad, and I'm going to show first an old image of you drawing Shazam.
Yeah.
Back when you, Art, and Franco took over from Mike Kunkel.
Yeah.
This series, this continuity
of
Shazam.
One of my favorite books I've ever done. Yeah.
Great stuff, man. No, I love it. And I'm glad you're back on the character.
Yeah.
You did Shazam issue 10.
Yeah.
And go ahead, tell me.
No, I did some of 12 as well, and now I'm doing all of 13 by myself, all by my little
right.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's fantastic. Here, am I right? Is this one of your pals?
No, that's Emma, who's doing the book regularly. And,
okay.
Yeah, she's,
well, hold on.
She's amazing.
I'll pop up a panel that I know is yours, and that's because essentially for people who haven't been reading, whether you were reading Mark Waid's run or not, now we're dealing with the fact that the adopted family is well, first of all, the foster parents are trying to legally adopt all the kids, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And your issue 10 have them moving back into the house after there was an attack on from the dinosaur and all that stuff.
Yeah, it is weird in all of the Fawcett ways that you would want. That's the thing I like about this new book.
Yeah, Zeus basically in restoring the house has created this other dimensional area of the house.
A couple of them, it turns out. So
yeah,
no, I don't think I'm giving them away, but yeah.
No, I think that was all intent. Yeah. They're in the closet. They're in various rooms. They're in various hallways. Yeah. All right. How about this? Is this one of your panels?
Yeah, that's me.
Yay! Yay! Well, Mike, honestly, and I've always appreciated this about you. A keen eye can get your style, but also when the job necessitates you emulating a style, you've always been able to do that as well.
Yeah, a lot of old school editors. I would put probably Mike Carlin at the top of that list. Really kind of, and at the time I was both resentful and very appreciative because it was just I learned a lot, and they were very much of Mike especially is very much. This is a book that comes out every month, we got to get it done. Let's get that guy that can do it every month. And so he also knew that some stuff sells and, hey, draw it like this. But he also did stuff like, I was working on Green Arrow with him for a while. And, I was drawing at, like the former artist who I think was Cliff Chang at the time. And after, I don't want to say it was a whole year, but after a while he goes, I think it's okay for you to draw it like you now. And so, and then we got Bill Sienkiewicz to ink, so it didn't really matter.
Well, I was going to say, honestly, Mike, I get that, but it was an interesting combination of pencil and ink.
Oh,
and, yeah. So I do understand both the frustration, but also the fact that it did kind of help you, along with your art style.
Oh, I wouldn't change it at all. I learned a lot, and I'm a better artist for it. But I get the, not a lot of people in my position have been able to be inked by, Jerry Ordway or Bill Sienkiewicz and, Joe Rubenstein. I mean, that's hard to say now. He doesn't really do a whole lot of stuff.
No, in fact, I don't think Joe does any comic book work anymore. He shows up at the cons, but I know he's really into his fine art.
Yeah, he paints. He's a real good painter. Yeah.
Really good painter. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Joe. I like Joe a lot. I usually will, spend a few minutes at a con talking to him about past glories and things like that.
Yeah.
Real good dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We were talking off the air, and I wanted to get your vibe on this because what brought you to Chicago was Devil's Due and G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah. I moved up here to work in comics of all places. Yeah. I think I was the only person. I must have been the only person he knew that actually had been paid to draw comics before. So I think he hired me to be the art director. I mean, kind of in name only, because he was really making all the decisions. But I was doing all the artistic production and ads and design and stuff. Somebody reminded me of C2E2. Actually, it's like, oh yeah, I heard you were the guy that made up the G.I. Joe Transformers logo, the Cobra and the Decepticon logo that's on all the T-shirts. And I was like, yeah, I did do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to talk to Josh, I think, in the weeks ahead. But I was it occurred to me. I saw him and we hung out a little bit this past weekend at C2E2. And I'm like, really, I think the modern G.I. Joe appeal started with Josh at his T-shirt business getting.
Oh yeah, sure. He was sort of on the bleeding edge of that whole nostalgia thing. People, it was kind of now everything is marketed around that, I was lamenting the other day that we're in the throes of 90s nostalgia, which means that we're already past the stuff that I remember and like. So it's like, oh no, this is terrible. But yeah, he was doing designs on, of G.I. Joe stuff and some of his own characters and stuff like that before he got the license from them. And then when he did, it opened the doors for Dreamwave and all these other places that brought and I would say even the Turtles never really went away, but they're that kind of nostalgia craze is certainly aided by people remember these TV shows and they can sell again. So
makes sense. Absolutely, man. So like who else was part of the Devil's Due era back then?
The first Devil's Due people were me and Josh and Josh's girlfriend Susan and Tim Seeley and my good friend Chris Crank, who was he was the web guy. He ran all the web stuff, and Sam Wells was the web store guy that ran it. And later on, I hired Sean Dove to be my assistant and then replacement. And there was a lot of people that went in and out of there. Marshall Dillon was a project manager at one point. yeah, a lot of people were there, and I'm still friends with pretty much all of them. You know, me and Tim went on to make a lot of stuff together, and Sean Dove's still in my studio with me. So,
You know, I was wondering that. Who was I talking to? I was talking to Jim Terry and Brownie, Ryan Brown.
mhm.
So 4 Star Studios, is that where you guys were? Is it the loft or not the loft, but the warehouse area?
Yeah,
Are you guys still there?
every day. Yeah, yeah.
Who's so you, Dove?
It's me, Sean Dove, Josh Emmons, who was an original member. The first 4 stars were me and Tim and Josh
Right.
Emmons and me, Tim, Josh, Sean. Is that 3 or 4?
Well, then, yeah. It's you and Tim, Josh, and Sean. Yeah, it would be those.
Yeah.
It would be those 4.
Yeah. So we did that. It's a long time ago. I can't count to 4, so I'm not going to give you a year number. But yeah.
No, that's great. And yeah, through the years, Terry has come through there, and Ryan Brown.
Terry, Jenny Frizen,
Jenny,
Ryan Brown, Chris Burnham was in there at one point.
Oh, that's right. Of course, Burnham was there. Yeah.
Left his McDonald's bags all over the place. Had to get rid of them. Get out of here. Go to California.
Stink. That McDonald's stink. Exactly, man.
Yeah.
I haven't had him on in forever, Burnham. I should get him back. I miss him.
Yeah, I would like to know what he's doing. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Totally. Absolutely, man. Well, and you mentioned, so many projects that you and Seeley did together.
Yeah.
How would you say, because, Revival, one of your big ones,
Mm-hmm.
I think came in a really interesting time in terms of how would I say it? The creator-owned period were really like a lot of guys were doing not your usual like 12 and out, whatever. How many issues did Revival run? Like 40 or so, right?
Yeah, over that. We were trying to go for like 60 issues, and once we had planned it out from the beginning, and when we had talked, I was, we had kind of decided that once it reached a certain part of the story, it was just going to plummet, downhill as far as pace. So we didn't really know exactly how we wanted it to be 60, but we knew that once it started rolling that we wouldn't be able to control when it stopped or, so we let it end at its natural point rather than kind of let it go on and on. So. Sure.
Absolutely. Well, again, I remember having this conversation with people like you and Tim and guys like Nick Spencer with Morning Glories.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, well, there's competition all the time, not only new creator owned stuff, but obviously what the big two were putting out. And I was wondering, it's like, what do you do to sustain interest? I mean, Kirkman was able to do it with Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It's a rare exception,
I mean, I would give you an answer if I thought that it was actually possible to figure that out. I don't think that it's possible. I've watched, and even with Image, they've kind of had these periods. It's been like a cyclical thing where they've had these big booms of creator books that do incredibly well. I think they're in the middle of one right now, actually. But I don't think it's just Image. I think you're seeing it across the board with all these indie books that are kind of like taking off. But back then, I don't think it's possible to like, oh, I've got the perfect. This is going to really, and then it takes off, and you're like, this is how we keep it here. You can do like things here and there, but other than write a good story or know what you're doing, it's all kind of gimmicks and stuff like that. It's like, let's get so and so to do a cover. Nobody will expect that. That kind of thing. It's really just kind of rearranging stuff. You're not. Unless you do something shocking, which, I mean, we did, but I mean, there's only so many people you can kill off in a book, I mean, Robert did it very well for a long time, but we had a finite cast. Nobody knew was coming in. So we had to stop it at some point.
Understood. Greg says Burnham and I forgot about this. I just talked to Jason Aaron. He's doing a bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Jason.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah.
And then Magic Case says, "Hey, Mike, congratulations on getting your opportunity to work on the Shazam series. I remember you worked on Billy Batson and the Magic of Shazam. Did you and Art and Franco, did you get any plans cut short because the series was axed back then?"
Yeah. It didn't get cut short other than, we would have liked to have continued it. They told them, and so they made the last couple of issues really big. Like there's a 2-parter where we kind of had Captain Marvel like just fight every one of his old bad guys and stuff like that. So we went out fun,
Oh, absolutely.
But no, it didn't. Other than them never collecting it, really, it hasn't been collected in trades for some reason, and I'm kind of sore about that. But it's kind of a perfect creator experience. You have to really look to find somebody who doesn't like those two guys. You know this more than anybody.
Yeah, Art and Franco, absolutely. Well, getting back to Shazam now, because when you did it, it was the trio. It was Junior, Mary, and Billy.
Yeah.
And now there are the other. I don't even know. Do they call the others when they get the Shazam powers? Do they call them Lieutenant Marvels? Do they?
No, not right now. Right now, everybody's kind of place is sort of in flux. Even Mary and Freddie. Well, Mary not so much. Mary is Mary.
Oh, so even Freddie hasn't been Junior really yet, or
not in the comic, really. No. You'll have to stick around to see how that works out. So so the kids have all been pretty much, being kids, and even Billy's sort of trying to figure out whether or not the captain is making it happen for him.
I love that wrinkle of it, and it calls back to the original Fawcett run that Billy and the captain really were two separate beings.
Yeah,
and I like that.
Yeah. It's something you see back and forth with, it's usually a new school versus old school argument. And it's I like it when it's obviously a kid as an adult, and then there's, people that have been reading. It's like, they're two different people, it's like, and I think somewhere in between, I like it when Captain Marvel acts like a big dumb kid, like the Justice League that Giffen and Maguire did was perfect, because he knew he had a secret, and he was a big goofy Boy Scout. He was afraid of everybody else around him, even though he was stronger than all of them. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I also liked, and I talked to Johns about this years ago when he was doing JSA, and I liked that romance that Billy had with Courtney, and the captain really was still Billy.
Yeah.
And I remember Jay Garrick catching them, not an intimate moment, but certainly close relationship, man-woman relationship. And Courtney's a kid, and Jay really getting in the captain's face and going, "Hey,
yeah,
that's a kid. What the hell are you doing?" And obviously, Billy can't tell him.
Yeah,
it's okay. I thought that was very interesting, and
I think that it makes for great stories, but it always upsets somebody now these days. So I mean, there's ways to do it in an interesting and constructive way. And I've had ideas like that Shazam is something that I always think about, with my own projects. I have ideas, but I don't think that I am let's say a smart enough writer to traverse some of the pitfalls that kind of dynamic would bring up, especially the twist that I wanted to do on it, which, I'm making it sound way more interesting than it actually is, but I'll leave that as my secret right now. So.
Do you have favorite Shazam runs that weren't your own? Obviously there's some big guys that have played with.
Other than, I was a big fan of the Justice League International ones, even though he was just kind of an ensemble character in that. But anytime I think there was a Secret Origins issue, but also whenever Jerry Bingham would draw Captain Marvel, I was really, because I loved his artwork. It was somewhere between Neil Adams and Tom Mandrake. It had like this, really loose, but there's a structure underneath, and it's heroic and powerful. And I remember as a kid really thinking Jerry Bingham was amazing, and he did I think it was a Secret Origins that they did of Captain Marvel, and that's one of my favorites.
I believe Roy wrote that. Roy Thomas. I think.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Dude, I swear, and again, I'm 10 years older than you, but I love your references to 70s and 80s artists that, when I don't think about them until you bring them up. And Paris Collins is another guy.
Oh, Paris Collins is huge to me. Paris Collins was huge to me. And these were just like, I'm older than my friends. That's pretty much it, they're all sitting around watching X-Men 97, and I'm like, I was in college when this came out. I wasn't really into it. And, but that being said, that cartoon is really good.
A, I agree with you, and B, you just described how I feel when I hang with your group and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome.
15 years older and stuff. Yeah, man. No, I get it. I absolutely get it.
But yeah, I was a big fan of, what you would probably call old school artists, but, to me, they were just the comics I read growing up, I was, it's not uncommon to hear somebody these days say John Romita Jr. was a big influence on him, but they're usually talking about that 90s to 2000s version. And I'm thinking of like the original, like 1980 where he's doing, Spider-Man and then X-Men and
Daredevil.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And
I'm with it.
And John Byrne, big influence on me.
I can see that. I see the Byrne influence. Absolutely. That's cool.
Paris Collins, absolutely, yeah.
Have you ever met either Paris or Byrne or any of these guys?
Never met Paris. I'd love to, but I have met Byrne a long time ago at a Mid-Ohio Con when I was first starting out. Yeah.
Was he cool to you?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I know. I hear stories, man.
He was very jovial. I said, you're a huge name to me, and I don't know what to say right now. And he, if I remember correctly, said, well, bask in my glory then.
That's great. That's excellent.
Yeah. So
that's funny. Hey, Franco's watching.
Uh-oh.
He says
I'm a big fan of Mr. Franco.
Indeed. No, truly, man, the three of you really were great together, and I hope someday.
We always talk about, every time I see them, and this weekend was the same. I every time we see each other, we need to do something together. Then we leave and forget each other.
I get it. It happens. I do the same thing. I'll want to book somebody, and then I'll lift my head and go, yeah, that was last year that you said, hey, let's do something.
Oh, that's me all the time. It didn't get any better once everybody started, getting stuck in their house for 3 years. So.
Well, we were talking about it off the air, man. No, I think COVID did a number on all of us mentally. And
yeah.
Prayer for shut-ins, if you will.
Oh, man, this is not the industry that you want to mess with somebody's mental health.
That's true. Yeah, really, man. Jesus Christ. What a roller coaster the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been focusing on it a lot, and I haven't been very shy about it. I've been really like trying to, I go to therapy and all that stuff, and just trying to get my, not be so anxious around people. This past weekend, C2E2 was actually a pretty good stress test of that. See how I am with the public again.
God, Mike, I'm so glad you said that, because truly, I don't know why. All I had was the Svengoolie panel on Saturday, and it went great.
Yeah.
And truly, and as I'm sure you experienced even more so, so much great positive feedback.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, Friday, before I got to the show, I was nervous as hell.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I got nothing to prove.
Same way.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I had no agenda other than saying hi to everybody.
Yeah.
And both listeners and creators that I'm friends with, and making new connections, perhaps. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know why. I was really skittish and literally like was deep breathing in the Uber as I was going.
Same. Yeah. And it's interesting because, you see the same people a lot of times every year and after year. And after this year, especially those returners, they definitely looked like they had that look in their eye too of like, yeah, we all went through something. But everybody's happy to be there. It's really cool. It's super cool, especially the new kids now. I keep saying kids, like, I guess I am old, but yeah, the new people. It's the enthusiasm. I just want to like,
that's great.
That kind of thing.
No, you want to recapture that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Here, Greg McKean. Love that quick Kirby packed origin you did with King for King and Jared's Mr. Miracle. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. How'd you get involved in that book? And congratulations on the upcoming Absolute Edition. Yeah, that was a great run.
That's an interesting story. Actually, it's all because of it's Tom and Julian Lytle who actually, sort of came up with the Dark Side Is quote thing. And I was having dinner with both of them in DC during a convention. And I said that, you need to do like the TV show, the kind of cartoon version, and Lytle was there, and what do you know, Tom actually did it. I was like, I didn't pitch it because I didn't have an idea, but I did like the idea of the animated series of this serious book, and him and Mitch have done such cool things just by just like changing the angle of something.
Adam Strange, another great example of that.
Yeah, everything they work on actually, and Tom kind of his specialty, and Mitch kind of brings that sort of gritty realism. So who else better to contrast than me doing my Mike Parobeck impression, sort of.
Mike Parobeck, another great callback. Very good.
Yeah. I used to get compared to him a lot when I started out. So I always bring his name up.
I could see that. I absolutely could see that. Man, his JSA stuff was fantastic.
Oh, yeah, sure. When I was a kid, I didn't appreciate it. But now I'm like, I don't think I could actually do that. I might have got there by accident in some panels, but yeah.
James wants to know if you can recreate the circumstances that led you to collaborate with Greg Rucka on King of Country.
It was just a matter of I was, working on a lot of stuff at Oni at the time, and Greg was the biggest book there, and that wasn't like something Kevin Smith related. This is actually after all of that, so they were basically just lining up artists for arcs because that was their big deal. And they said, "Hey, Mike, you want to do Queen of Country?" I was like, "Yeah, you think I'd be good for that?" But Steve Rolston, who started the book, was had a cartoon animated style to it. So I liked that they were taking this very serious spy stuff and just putting a different look on it for every iteration. So I said, sure, yeah. And then like 3 arcs after that, they would say, "You're next, Mike." And then I was like, "No, it's Mike Hawthorne." And then, "Okay, you're next." "No, it's Jason Alexander." "Oh, okay, you're next." And finally it was me. And it was real fun. It was a big learning curve because I don't think Greg had done many comics or any at all before Queen of Country.
Well, he did his Batman
Whiteout.
No Man's Land.
Yeah.
But not much other than that.
Yeah. So it was very interesting getting the scripts, and they're very a lot of stuff happens. Let's put it that way.
It was one of my favorite early 2000s series, and I always loved the different art changes. I really felt I checked out in the 90s, mostly because I couldn't afford them post college.
Sure.
So really 99, 2000 is when I came back. And that's one of the things I really appreciated was serious subjects as far as the writing goes, but having a more cartoony, bouncy style. You guys and oming on Powers with Brian, and so many other things like that. And I mean, even to the degree of using, or I shouldn't say using, but that Rucka even collaborated with Carla Speed McNeil on a Queen.
Oh yeah, she was one of them too. I
Yep.
tell you what, I think it's kind of a perfect idea because it gets you into subject matter that you probably wouldn't be interested, So
Yeah.
it's a certain artist is gonna bring a certain kind of viewer, and then you get into it, and it's like, I wonder how many people are into spy stuff now, spy novels, because of that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was real fun, and I was happy that I got like so much action in my arc. A lot of the time it's very like British spy television show where there's a lot of office intrigue and stuff, and there was a fair amount of that in mine, but
Sure.
I also got to throw Tara out a window. So
I was going to ask because, like you said, it is very John le Carré as far
yeah,
as novels
sure,
go,
yeah.
and even the television adaptations. Yeah, a lot of
Well, I
stuff.
think that's why people like it. It's like real. It's not
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
not James Bond. So
Did he ever get you into the Sandbaggers, that one of the TV shows that inspired?
they always brought it up, but I never got down to watching it. They always brought it up, and
It's a
I
great.
always meant to, but I never did.
It holds up reasonably well, given that you're watching 70s fashion. It reminds me in a
All right.
different way of loving Barney Miller, despite giant ties and a
Oh,
lot of
sure, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was a really well made thing. And like you said, no, it definitely wasn't James Bond. It was the working class spy, and him going to his Neil, the main sandbagger guy, going to his superiors and saying, when they're like, why are you flying your spies first class? And it's like, so they're not like cramped in coach and then have to go do field work. You want them rested and sharp when they actually go in the field. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Here, even as James says, Sandbaggers absolutely inspired it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they mention it all the time. They never told me to watch it. They never said you need to watch this in order to get this, but they did bring it up. They did bring it up.
I mean, really, if you focus even on the Bond movies and the scenes in M's office, that's a good vibe. And remind me what your story was about that you did.
There was a rush. She was breaking in a new agent, and they were in, I think it was Russia. Yeah, it was Russia. And the mission goes wrong, and she gets really injured. And so they have to find a way to get her out. And it's all that intrigue and,
No, I get it. Absolutely. When's the last time you talked to Greg? Jesus.
It's been a long time.
I understand. No, I understand, man.
I mean, we're just talking about not going to shows, for a while. I haven't seen anybody for a while, but yeah,
well, that's
it's been a long time. Yeah.
And really, I can't even think other than maybe Portland, Rose City, the last shows that Greg has done. I know when Stumptown was on ABC.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Nope.
He made me a character in the novels. I don't know if he lives or not. I think I'm like an ambassador somewhere.
In Queen and Country, or
in the book.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I love that novel too. No, that really was what I mean. I appreciate what Greg did on Batman and Detective as well. But Queen and Country was it was thrilling in the same way that Stray Toasters was for me with Lapham, and that's why like all these like interesting new.
Oh, Stray Bullets, you mean?
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up Sienkiewicz and Moore's.
I do it all the time.
There you go, Stray Bullets, exactly, buddy. Thank you. I don't know. It was interesting stuff. Another thing that you did, and I always love this. It started as a web comic, Battle Pug.
Oh,
and I would, give people the origin story of.
I was like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah. No, Battle Pug's my baby. it was the first thing that I really kind of did for myself in comics, So it's just pure whatever pops into my head. I try not to get too serious about it, but I also try to make it interesting enough for an adult to want to read it. And yeah, we've done, it turned 10 last year. So it's been 10 years of it already. And we've got one huge collection and a second one. And I just finished a new graphic novel, a new 5-6 issues worth of material. It's a one big story, and it's essentially like picks up where the cliffhanger for the last one left off, which I'm sure I've got some fans that are mad at me about that. But yeah, the plan is to kickstart it this year. I want to, I keep watching what my buddy Ryan Brown's doing, and I'm like, maybe I can do that. I was in a lot of his videos for his Kickstarter, so hopefully I'm the luck that he has. Maybe I'll dress like Blast Furnace in my video or something like I did for him.
A fine graphic novel, Blast Furnace. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely, sure.
Battlepug started at first as a T-shirt idea for iFanboy. Am I right?
Yeah. They like to remind me that.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Where's our money?
Yeah. Good luck, boys.
I was like, where's my money?
But it's awesome. You combined this great barbarian story idea with your love of rescue pugs and
animals,
the like.
Yeah, just animals in general. I mean, I'd like to say there's a bigger idea out there other than somebody told me to come up with something, and that's the first thing that came into my head. But that's literally what happened. And it it's like when we won the Eisner, my acceptance speech was, this is only going to encourage me to keep doing stuff like this, because when you do like, hey, my first thing, I'm just going to do whatever I want. Okay, here's an award. I think, it's kind of hard to say, I don't think I'll do that anymore. Maybe I need to, I just want to make stuff that I like, and Battle Pug is one of the things I like. Grumble's one of the things I like, and
yes.
Working with people that I like is what I like.
Well, I think you're at that stage of your career where you should collaborate with people that you like, and
yeah.
So
if I can find somebody to pay me money for it, that's kind of the dream, right?
How do you see now digital comics? Because obviously it really wasn't there when you did Battle Pug, and it was really kind of a traditional web comic.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a thing where people didn't exactly know the difference. And I think, speaking of the Eisners, I think a lot of, awards or magazines or anybody that covers this stuff, I think even they didn't know exactly what the difference was. And I think the definitions sort of changed. They haven't like a best online comic and then a best web comic now, because they are different. And
yes,
I think I would have fallen in. Well, technically mine was a weekly page comic formatted for the internet. I think it qualifies as a web comic, but stuff that Brian Vaughn does, all these other, things where they're experimenting with the medium, and not just the medium, but the distribution of it. And that's where the online comic, I think, is kind of I think people are playing with that a lot more now. Web comics are kind of ubiquitous. I think all, kids under a certain age, it's not a barrier to entry anymore. It's how they see stuff,
Absolutely. Man.
Yeah. So
everything's coming through the iPhone and the tablet. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. And I my language is more the online comic. I always feel like I'm kind of phony in that webcomic world, but that's sort of, the people younger and more talented than me really know how to exploit and use that kind of medium.
Did any webtoons or any of these other tapas or anything? Did they ever come to you and say, "Hey, if you got an idea"? You know?
I think Sean McKeever and I did like pitch something to Webtoons at one point, but that's there were other cartoonists like I think Fabian Nicieza was doing one, and some other people, and so we thought that we might try that, but it's really daunting the way they do stuff. It's not just the formatting alone is way different.
Interesting.
You have to think of it more like you're drawing a cartoon or a video game, really. You have to think about all possibilities and how this is going to be formatted afterwards. And it's really an online experience. And so that was something that maybe me and Old Man Sean weren't really feeling our strongest about our capabilities in that area.
God, it sounds like Understanding Comics, the Scott McCloud book.
Oh, it is definitely. There's a learning curve. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, and also I was going to say, and no disrespect to Scott, because that book was so important when it came out, but it really kind of is a different comic book world when that thing came out.
Yeah, well, he's done. They did. New versions of it and stuff.
I didn't realize that.
I think there's an Understanding webcomics too, isn't there? I'm not sure.
I'll take your word for it, and I'll look it up later, or unless somebody in the chat wants to. I want to acknowledge a couple people in the chat. Tony Maldonado, one of Chicago's watching, and I appreciate that, Tone. Good to see you. I appreciated your message the other day watching one of my other YouTube videos. And Chad, I'm an idiot. Forgive me, because Chad just interviewed me for his podcast. But, yeah, and he actually just put it out yesterday, I want to say. So remind me, Chad, I want to give you a proper shout-out for your podcast, especially given that I was just a guest on that podcast.
You're everywhere, John.
Can't help it, man. I'm always happy to do. If somebody asks me, I mean, you know me.
Yeah,
hey, John, you want to talk? Yes, I do. Yes, please. Why, yes, sit down. Have you got an hour? Good, I do. A couple of the guys want to know, and first I'll let James ask. Another creator with a spinner rack. I'm going to zoom in, Mike. What do you
get a tour?
What's that spinner rack behind you there? There we go.
Well, let me see what I have.
And I'll even take down the logo for a second, I think.
There's really just a bunch of stuff that I've I'll take my headphones off so I won't be able to hear you, but
no problem.
We got a bunch of old Avengers like Buscema. I think this is probably who is this? I don't know. Steve Englehart, maybe? I don't know.
Wow.
But I have a bunch of those. I got some Secret Wars. I got some Kelly Williams scary stuff. Got some actually old, Tim and Josh Emmons. Got a Croft Superstore show with Bigfoot and Wild Boy. Everybody loves Bigfoot and Wild Boy.
Yes.
A bunch of my favorite issue, Alpha Flight.
Cool.
Young Avengers I worked on, some Gabe Hardman. Just mostly stuff that I either really like reading or somebody gave me and I can't find a place to put it. So it's like it's across the spectrum
That's awesome. I had totally forgot. I was literally just talking about the Croft Super Show this afternoon about the magnificent Mungo, Lenny Weinrib.
Oh man. So the Croft Super Show, I was really only interested. I was all Bigfoot and Wild Boy all the time. So I didn't really care how I got it. And it only lasted one season. And when I told people about it as a grown-up, nobody believed me.
Oh my God, that's where Electro Woman and Dyna Girl came from.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And Captain Cool and the Kongs. I enjoyed Dr. Shrinker. He was a madman with an evil mind.
He's you tell people about this, and it just sounds like the weirdest, like, no company comic that you found. And it's like, yeah, this was on TV.
Well, and that's awesome. ChemDog says all the Croft stuff is on Tubi.
Oh wow! So yeah, I'll go be watching that right now.
Yeah, exactly. Me too, man. Exactly. Seriously, man. And I didn't get no money for this. I think Tubi and a lot of the free streamers with ads. They got some great shit that everyone has forgotten. And Tubi's got you covered. So
I love to watch terrible movies, and a lot of them are on Tubi.
Absolutely, man. Is that still a tradition at the studio? Do you guys?
Not so much. I've been kind of busy. I've been trying to get back into, most of the other guys in there work on their iPads, so they sit on the couch and put the TV on. And I have a huge Cintiq, and I'm like, I can't put this in my lap, So I just listen to them watch, which is the irony because they used to listen to me watch stuff, and now they're all mostly anime and stuff I'm not really interested in anyway, so I don't miss out too much. But then they put on like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie or something. I'm like, come on, have I seen this yet? Nah.
Well, God, what was the Robert Ginty movie that we both love from the 80s?
The Exterminator?
I was gonna say,
Warrior of the Lost World? White Fire? What are you going to have to narrow it down?
I'm sorry, I was thinking of Exterminator because, of course, I love Robert Ginty from The Paper Chase.
Yeah, Paper Chase. It's the Paper Chase guy.
God, did you see last summer, Mark Altman made this, he had a Kickstarter for, I think, what was going to be a documentary, and instead it ended up being a 4-part show on the CW, and it was all about 1980, I want to say 82, as the best geek year ever for movies and TV. Oh my God. And he really dug deep, and not only the obvious stuff like E.T. and Star Trek Wrath of Khan and Rocky 3, I want to say, but also like Megaforce and so many other, exactly, man. Those kind of movies that, what the hell, let's make this. Barry Botwick's not doing anything. Let's make it.
Yeah, hey, Barry, we got some spandex for you.
Sounds great. I'll be there.
Yeah, I know. I'm already wearing some. He just showed up in that. It's like, well, I guess we got to get 15 more gold LeMay jumpsuits for these guys.
Yes, ChemDog. Poltergeist, another one of those movies.
Yeah,
but that was, I mean, that's the thing. Like, certainly the big movies, but it really was great. Like, again, them kind of not only doing the obvious big movies and stuff. E.T. was in there, I want to say, as well. But yeah, just like Megaforce, and right now that's the one that comes to mind.
It has to be the worst one, but sure, yeah.
And
my babysitter took me to see that movie, which is the only reason why I have this like sentimental, because it's a terrible movie. It's very boring, and it's got. I mean, you could probably edit it down to like 30 minutes of enjoyable content.
I agree with James. Is it weird that The Fall Guy is now a major motion picture?
Yes, it's very weird.
It's very, very weird. And I don't know how you feel, Mike, but when the Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse came out, I like Jake Gyllenhaal a lot, and I enjoy the original Roadhouse. But to me, I'm like, it was just a Netflix release. It wasn't but the director wanted to be a big screen release, and I'm like. Sure. And his reasoning was, well, so many generations have seen Roadhouse, and it's like, yeah, but other than the initial people like you and me, we watched it on TV.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's enough and much like The Fall Guy, I don't know if that's enough to get people to the theaters. We'll see.
It is interesting that they're obviously working on with a brand identity, but the thing is, who remembers it? That kind of thing.
Yeah, dads, people.
Yeah, dads.
Yeah, ChemDog, I hear you. He's like, heck, I saw the A-Team.
Oh, I like that movie.
Oh, God, I love it. Fowley is just hitting us with all these great 82 movies. The Thing, Blade Runner.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Conan and Dark Crystal. Of course, Tron and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yep.
That is good.
That's the heart of my high school years, man, 82.
Yeah.
So now I get it. Absolutely, man. That's funny. Trying to see. Oh, all right. Now here's another thing that. First of all, Jason says, "Great start on the Shazam series. Love the Teen Titans Academy series."
Oh yeah, thanks.
Mike, yeah.
Yeah, I had somebody at a comic convention ask me why I don't promote, because I've been working on a lot of different things over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And they was like, why don't you promote that you're working on Teen Titans or, this thing or that thing? And I was like, it's DC Comics. It's in the comic store. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I mean, I'm literally doing something different every month. And I mean, I could put it up on my Instagram, and I usually do, but it's,
No, I get it.
I'm not hiding it. I want you to buy it.
No, I get it. Oh, all right. Now, David mentions also another 82 movie, Beastmaster.
One of my favorites, yeah.
Of course. Now, do you remember? I don't think it was 82. It might have been. Folly, maybe you can look it up. There was this movie about kind of Ren Fair people. They were on motorcycles.
Oh yeah, that's
oh my, well done.
It's actually a George Romero movie, I think.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a Romero movie.
I think it's it's called
Not Night Quest.
Night Riders or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's something. Yeah, now you're going to make me look it up.
Yes, Ed Harris was in it. That's right, David.
Yeah, Ed Harris. Yeah.
That was a big one when I went to college. There was one guy who had his own a single dorm room, and he had work. He did a couple gap years. It was Night Riders. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Excellent. He had a TV in his room and a VCR, which in 1983 and 84 was very impressive.
Oh, bougie.
Yeah, and we would get stoned in his dorm room and watch all the cult movies, watch Knight Rider, watch Beastmaster. Yeah. He would record them from Cinemax or wherever he got them, and just had the VHSs running and everything. So, Oh, interesting. All right, Folly has a movie recommend. Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh yeah, that's the new one with Kristen Stewart. Yeah, I want to see that. I'm writing this down. Exactly. I like how whenever I talk to you on your show, we always end up talking about dumb movies.
Well, well, that's the thing, and honestly, the film business and the streaming business is in a really weird place now.
Oh yeah.
They can't. Good Lord, they can't make a hit to save themselves, and so forget about these great movies. I mean, that was kind of the point of Altman's documentary series, is that studios took gambles.
Yeah, well, you can't now because nothing makes money because they've gotten them in a position. They're all in a position where they can't make money if they tried. It's almost like, teaching a couple of generations of people to get free stuff. It's like coming back to haunt people.
I hear you, man. No, I agree. And, I keep saying COVID accelerated this problem, but it was even there prior to COVID. And as they were flirting with streaming and everything, and it's like, it's a great idea. And it's like, maybe not.
I mean, I enjoy it. I like not going to movie theaters. I'm a heretic that way, but I've never enjoyed going to them unless I'm with friends and nobody wants to go see a movie with me.
You don't have to worry about me falling asleep on your shoulder as I did.
Oh, that's right. You used to fall asleep next time. Oh, right. Yeah. What movie was that? Was that Indiana Jones? Was that Crystal Skull?
No, I think it was Star Trek. I think it was the 2000.
Yeah, all right.
God, you love Star Trek. Yes, I do.
I like sleeping as well.
What's this drool on my shoulder? Yeah. Damn it,
you still make me sound like Mr. Haney. Another callback to an old thing that nobody remembers.
I love Green Acres. My God, the most meta sitcom ever. There was more shit going on in Hooterville and just the weird left of center ideas that they'd come up with on this farm comedy. It's just fantastic. I love that show.
Yeah. Not many people know David Lynch was really into Green Acres.
Was he should have.
No, I'm just making that up.
I love it though. No, that actually kind of fits.
Yeah, it would be a mind blower, wouldn't it?
That's true. Yeah, every now and then I'll admit on the show, the Yeah show that we do with Art and Franco, every now and then Mike Norton Mystery will pop up. So. How's Julie doing?
My wife?
Yeah. Well, it occurs to me because usually it'd be like, Julie, get the pugs and put them in the van. We got to
solve. She is fine. She is taking care of business in Milwaukee this evening.
Okay.
Hey, it's Tony Fleeks. That's that guy I know and like.
We love him.
I'm
God,
working
I'm a jerk. Good Lord.
work-
Oh, I didn't see him at all last weekend at C2E2.
Oh, there are a couple of people like that for me. Yeah, he came by a couple of times because
That's cool.
we're working together on something.
Hey, that's great to hear. Oh, I'm so glad.
Absolutely. Can I not tell people that, Tony? But we're doing something.
It's up to you, Tony. Don't worry. We can keep it quiet.
I'm not telling you what it is. But
Okay. Well, then that's a good tease. That's all right. That's a good tease. Don't kid yourself, man. No, that's really good. What have you been watching lately? Any good streamers or anything,
I have been watching some stuff. Most of it's real silly, but two good shows. I like some two good shows. Renegade Nell, which is a British show
Okay.
about like revolutionary times superhero. It's very cool.
Oh, kind of. Yeah. That's cool.
I like her. I like it a lot. And
what streamer is that on?
I think it's on Disney Plus. There's a lot of stuff on Disney Plus that I would not expect to be on Disney Plus right now. But I'm watching Davy and Jonesy's Locker, which is kind of like this. It's just Bill and Ted, but it's. I love what they're able to do with apparently like $6 in the budget because it's like the same hallway every episode, but they make it very funny and very interesting.
And that's on Disney as well?
That is on Hulu, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's weird. I was surprised that so much Hulu programming suddenly migrated over to Disney Plus.
Yeah, everything's everywhere. It's because it's the Wild Wild West and nobody knows who they belong to and stuff. It's really great for people trying to get shows on those networks.
Yeah. Well, that's true. From a producer standpoint.
Yeah.
James wants to know when are we going to get you on a Ted Cord Blue Beetle film?
I don't know. Ask them. I would love to. I'm so super. The movie was great. I loved that so much. And it just kind of made me think a lot about, that little universe. And, I would love to do Ted sometimes. I've only drawn like dead Ted in continuity, Oh,
was that during that Blackest Night?
Yeah. I've drawn the Blackest Night Ted, and I've drawn like Ted in Heaven. So I've seen every version I've drawn is dead Ted. I haven't drawn an alive Ted.
Dead Cord.
Yeah, Dead Cord. Yeah.
Wow. I just
said
it's
still one of my favorite characters, so I really want to make something out of him.
I just had the guy on who's been writing Blue Beetle lately, and I give him a lot of credit that he, of course, included Ted, but also even Dan Garrett flashbacks, which really made
even so back when I was working on it, they were trying to make that generational connection because that's one of the things DC's always really been good at is legacy characters and
absolutely
finding a way. Marvel's good at it now too, but it used to be if you had a new character, it's probably going to stick around because we don't have to get rid of new Blue Beetle because old Blue Beetle exists, that kind of thing. They're all Blue Beetle, and now Marvel has 1,700 Spider-Man.
That's very true. Tony, Bigfoot and Wild Boy memories. He says, I got the weirdest looks when I ask anyone if they remembered it. And he says, Peter Brady was even on that show and fought Bigfoot.
You can't beat Bigfoot, man.
And
he's doing his best. He's raising a kid on his own out
I would say
Pacific Northwest wilderness. He doesn't have a house.
He seemed to be a better father than Godzilla when it comes to
he didn't tell him to get away. I don't know who you are, like Godzilla did. He's a deadbeat.
Did you see -1?
I have not.
I haven't seen it yet either.
I've seen all the new American stuff, even the TV show that Fraction was working on.
Mike, I got to tell you, I had no interest in any of the Legendary films. I know that, and I love Bryan Cranston and I love the idea of the subsequent films. And I was so nervous when it came to the Monarch TV series because, Matt's a friend, obviously, and you want him to do well. And I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. I hope I like it. And I loved it. And it really was this great human story. And the Russells were so good in it. And the new actors were so good in it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it is because of the character stuff. Because, I mean, can't afford to put a Godzilla in every movie. I mean, in every episode, right? So it's like when they do show up, it's kind of like, when Batman shows up in like in Gotham Academy, not Gotham Academy, but Gotham Central or something, it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy that we all like know, so.
No, I'm with you. Greg says he's not a Godzilla guy, but -1 blew his effing mind.
Yeah, I would say I'm not a Godzilla guy. It's mostly more of a ha look at that kind of thing, like all the movies I watch. But
well, I appreciate the classic stuff, because I remember watching it on Saturday afternoons.
Well, they're very weird. They're very weird.
Yes,
and I do appreciate the weirdness of them. My studio mate Sean Dove is a huge fan.
Well, that makes sense. I can see that. No, Sean. It's great. You ever hear Tarantino's theory about the Toho Godzilla movies? He's like, it's an alternate universe where Japan won the Second World War and is the dominant superpower, and that's why they're in the lead in so many of those movies and stuff. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, you could have that little headcanon, that works.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love the every now and then the various American actors that would peek in, like Nick Adams.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're obviously they're the only ones speaking English.
Of course, and it's even Artie has Balthazar has mentioned the weirdness of the 55 version of the original movie with Raymond Burr. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Apparently the giant monster is destroying Tokyo.
Oh yeah, all the stuff that they tack on there that's clearly doesn't belong.
Well, it was 1955, and I can appreciate that Anglo attitude of, as an American audience, we're going to pay attention to a Japanese movie.
We can't sell this monster movie without Ironside.
That's true. Jesus Christ, killing me, Mike. Absolutely. Well, dude, we can wrap. I love this, as always. I appreciate it. Oh, people wanted to see before you go, and I don't want you to take your earbuds out, but they wanted to know what original art you had behind you.
Where do I have that?
Behind your head.
Oh, over here?
Yeah. Well, there, and even right behind your head, too. Yes. Yeah, past that bookcase. That other wall. Yep.
That?
Yep.
That is actually a newspaper article from when I was 10 years old in Jackson, Tennessee.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
They came to my house to do an article about me and my drawings.
He can draw.
Yes, that's basically what it was. They're just like, hey, who's this kid that's winning all the poster contests at the old Hickory Mall?
That's outstanding. The Hickory Mall. Fantastic. And what is on the side? What is this stuff?
That is a J.K. Woodward painting of The Answer by a character that I made up for Dark Horse Comics.
Yes, one of my favorite Mike Norton creations, The Answer. Absolutely.
Yeah, I keep meaning to do that again. Dennis, is it Hopeless or Hallam now? I think it's Hallam. So Dennis had 3 stories written, and so we need to do the other 2 because it gets real trippy. So
pick a name, Hopeless, for Christ's sake.
He's punk rock. You can't stop him.
What's that? What'd you say?
He's punk rock, man. You can't stop him.
That's true. That's fair enough. Now listen, I love Hopeless. Poor Hopeless and Melon. I forget their skateboard concept that they had when I first met them.
I don't remember that.
To this day, they give me shit because they showed it. Their proof of concept was a comic that Kevin Mellon drew, and it even had like a spiral notebook sort of binding to it and everything. And I looked it over. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, whatever. And I think I did a Wizard Con floor interview with them. And then I had them back. And I'm like, yeah, whatever happened with that? I got to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of it. But I appreciate what you guys were doing. And that's all they remember is I wasn't a big fan of it. And it's like, why would you tell us that, John?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, rookie mistake. What can I say? I was green back then. I've gotten better slightly.
I say dumb things all the time. So.
Exactly.
And I tend to say them online and on these things. So
I think
nobody's come after me yet. So
no, I think you did good tonight. Well, we're looking forward to more Shazam from you.
Yeah, it's coming, and like I think the newest issue will probably be out very soon, actually. So
Cool.
and yeah, the Kickstarter for Battle Pug. Well, I'm still getting all my stuff together. I'm technically still scripting it. I'm going through the pages and fixing stuff. But if you go to my website, IHateMike.com, there's a option to sign up for the newsletter, and on the newsletter, I'm going to keep you up to date on that. So.
Sounds good. Excellent, man. No, when the campaign is ready, obviously come back.
Oh yeah. I'll be trying to beg everybody to just beg everybody.
Well, I absolutely whatever I can do to help, and seriously, Mike, you and a lot of the Devil's Due guys and everything. You guys were among my first comic book friends, and that were pros. And I'm glad. It means a lot that we've maintained this friendship, and I was happy to talk, buddy.
Yeah, that. I'm glad somebody gets some of my references. I wish I could reciprocate on some of them. You go too far. You go too far back.
We should set up every now and then I'll do a movie review thing with Gabe Hardman's Scene Missing.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've watched some of that stuff. It gets too in the weeds for me. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, we should pick a movie that is.
You should watch Raw Force with Cameron Mitchell. Yeah, you should watch that.
I love, I want to say, I forget what it was called. It was Cameron Mitchell and Reb Brown.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? Mystery Science Theater made fun of it.
Oh yeah, Space Mutiny. Yeah.
Space Mutiny. Yes, and I felt so bad because I met Reb at a Terrificon show one year, and I'm just thank God because I really did gush on him about. I thought he would have been an amazing Captain America if the TV movies or a series continued, and the only thing that kept him from doing more was poor writing because he was perfectly cast as Captain America. I mean, he looked like
America. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I really think so. Yeah, man. And but I brought up Space Mutiny and I said Mystery Science Theater and his face dropped. And I'm like, listen, man, I go, they were just teasing, but also that's a fun movie with all of its low budget flaws, including using Galactica stock.
Oh man, yeah.
And a bad 8-bit computer game as a lot of its graphics
carts and stuff. Yeah, I there's so. I mean, if he got upset about that, he's got a back catalog that makes Space Mutiny look like freaking Oscar.
Well, and I mentioned Uncommon Valor, which I think is one of his more A-list pictures that he's proud of.
Yeah,
80s and stuff. But yeah, Greg, sweetheart of a guy, and truly, I think it ended okay because he hugged me.
Oh, like, good. Like, you didn't mention Robo War. That's probably why.
Another fine film, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we need to talk about, Mike. That's great. No, this is great, dude. As always, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Tomorrow night, you know what I'm excited for? It drops tomorrow on Netflix. The Seinfeld movie, Unfrosted.
Oh, the Pop-Tart movie. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, if people want the real story, they can watch the Food That Built America, the History Channel show, and they actually do an episode on Post and Kellogg trying to come up with the Pop-Tart recipe. Mm-hmm. And this obviously beyond that basic premise, then it goes off into nothing but high comedy, or low comedy. We'll see. I'll see when I watch it. Yeah. But tomorrow night I'll be talking to Mitch from Terrificon and Franco.
Oh, cool.
And of course, also we'll review the last 2 episodes of Star Trek Discovery.
Oh no, that's a look of badness.
Very bad show.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I'm in the I wouldn't say I'm in the minority, but I know a lot of people. I don't like it when you make fun of shows that hurts me. So, all right, relax. I talk about shit I like as well. Relax, everybody.
Yeah, you do. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Thanks for watching, everybody, tonight. Everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye-bye.